Namaste, my beautiful queens. I've decided not just to do the readings, but I will try to kind of teach you a little bit of how you can do it yourself if you got yourself a deck of tarot. This spread consists of 10 cards. I'm going to be using it smaller and it's a very accurate deck, the Arcanum Tarot. This spread called everything about him. And of course, naturally, you can use it. If you are a man, you can use it everything about her. 9 questions about this person and the outcome possibly of possible outcome for your relationship. But the thing is, this is not a relationship spread. This is a good spread consisting of good 9 questions which would give you all the information about it. The thing is, if you want to add, if you have a deck of tarot, if you want to add, for example, questions, you see, the thing is that questions you can add can be many. So questions which we are going to ask now in the spread: who he is, already that question give us a lot of answers. How people see him, what is stable, unshakable in this man, some characteristics about this man which are there and which will be there, what he would never refuse from, what he would never leave. This is interesting question as well to add. Now, his potential, if, for example, we get ourselves page of wands or page of pentacles, is this man having a potential to become a king or knight and then a king or major arcana? His abilities, what abilities he have? His spirituality, how spiritual, how deep is this person? His weak points, his weaknesses, or maybe his negative parts in him, position number 8, and his good points, position number 9. The thing is that you can add, would he be a good husband? Would he be a good father? What is his real financial situation? What his real, because you can add, you see, because if I'm gonna put all the questions out there, I did create a spread which consisted of 35 questions. It's a relationship spread and everything about this man and relationship. How good of a lover he is. Are you going to be sexually comparable? How good of a father he is. How good of a husband he will be. How good of a supporter he will be. Will he be wiping your tears when you are sad? Like, you can add so much questions, so many questions to the spread. But at the same time, so you can, if you want, you can also, you did your spread, the one I showed you, and then okay, how about, what are his finances? What are his, what are his finances? How good he would be as a spouse? How good he would be as a father for my children, if you have children from previous marriage, or for your children you are going to have together. So, of course, all these questions you can add if you want, but I will be doing this spread consisting of 9 positions, 9 positions, which called everything about him. Of course, if you're a man, everything about her. I will show you how such a spread can be extremely informative, because lots of men are familiar nowadays with manipulation, women as well, but men more into manipulation. Why? Because when they close up their heart, their anahata, then they start playing games and manipulate. We usually don't close anahata ever, even after being broken hearted. So everything about him, asking the spirits of fire, earth, water, and air, the guides and the keepers, to give us the answers. Girls, this is my little ritual. I touch it to my forehead so I can clearly see with my logic. I touch it to my mouth so I can speak the truth, and I touch it to my heart so heart and logic combine together. This is my little thing. I always do that. So this is general, of course, girls. This is for everybody. It's not for, I cannot do pick up the cards because this spread consists of 9 cards. So take what resonate, don't take what doesn't resonate. And learn, little by little, learn little by little. So then when I do not know how life is going to be, when I'm going to be a month from now or a week from now, but hopefully YouTube is going to withstand all the craze in the world, and you'll be able to always go back to my videos and see what is there. So number 1 position, who he is, we're going to put, it's already tough. He is already tough. Who he is, we'll have a 5 of Swords. Who he is, this already clearly tells me, hey, that's not a very easy man. I would probably prefer to run away, but let's see what else. How people see him, and people see him as the strengths. Again, I'm going to put the cards down and I'm going to explain everything. What is stable in this man? What is unshakable in this man? 10 of Wands. Well, we already see more into his 5 of Swords here. What he would never ever leave, what he would never compromise about, he will stand on it. Reversed 2 of Pentacles. You see, it's already so interesting. This is so interesting already. His potential, what potential he has. Does he have potential for growing, for expanding his consciousness and spirituality? The Emperor had huge potential. His abilities, what abilities he has. Reverse King of Swords. Well, it's not a very good thing about abilities, but we're gonna combine. Always look at the whole spread. You have to know the meanings of the cards, but always look at the whole spread. Here's spirituality, 10 of Pentacles. No, not much spirituality in Pentacles. His weakness, if I don't know if he has a weakness, this guy, his weak or his bad point, bad feature of a character, negative. The Fool. Interesting. And his good point. His good point is the reversed Queen of Pentacles. And that's it. That's 9 positions. I wanted to add what he hides. Usually I add it when I do the relationship spread, what this man hides from you. But this is his personality, so it's not a relationship spread. So look what we are having here. First of all, who he is, we already have a tougher guy whose toughness is increased by the Emperor and Strength card here. But we already have a complicated guy. So as a personality, you need to look into him. And as a personality, this is the victory by any cause. You see what you see. When you want to read the cards, you make yourself imagine yourself being in that card. So he is pretty aggressive, and this man stands on a battlefield, and you see the empty battlefield, dead bodies out there, and he holds the swords of those he just distracted, diminished. So unfortunately, this one will not compromise much at all. He must be a winner. He must be number 1, whether it's argument, whether it is profession, where it is relationship. So dealing with such a man is difficult. Now also this one, this man also can be someone who has traumas in user childhood, who simply is scared to be less than someone, because it's just unfortunately he was told that only the strongest and heartless will succeed in life. Life is a jungle and you have to be a shark. So unfortunately, also, this man, deep inside, outside he will be acting and behaving like this, but deep inside he has tons of fears and tons of doubts, and also even panic attacks. But to be dealing with this man is extremely difficult, because they are very tough, and it's just so they tend to be standing on their way, even if everything shows that he is wrong, even if it's useless anymore to be standing for it, but he will be standing for it. So this is such a personality of who he is. We see the Five of Swords. Another thing, and now you look at all the cards, kind of always look at the cards you are seeing, like at the whole thing right here, and you see the strengths, you see the Emperor here, and it already makes a lot of sense that also this man is afraid to because he stands like this, and that this man wants in life what he wants in life. We didn't ask what he wants in life, but it already clear. We see the cards here that he wants position in position in life. So he wants to be an emperor, he wants to have money, he relies most of the time on the cold mind and logic. Unfortunately, we're already having a man whose heart closed or blocked. This is a pretty tough guy, but this guy is good in achieving the goals in life. Like he will step on everybody and he'll achieve a lot of things, but this is there. The methods he's ready to use, and he unfortunately uses those methods in relationship as well. The method he uses are not not including the interest of those people he is dealing with. So how people see him, and look how interesting people see him as that. People see him as extremely strong, and people you see more glorious part of him, because what it is, who he is. This is mainly why I did not add the card which would be what he hides, because usually the personality, the core of the personality, the very first card, this card shows what is in a core. Usually this man hides it. He doesn't show this unless the situation comes like this. But look how people see him. Energy, powerful energy, brave, almost heroic, could be military, fearless, very influential, very magnetic, very charismatic, emotionally stable. He stands in his, you see, like that. This is how he is in reality. This is how people see him. And he's always, and now look how we connect this together. He's always sure that he is right. I know what I want. I know how I want it. And you do as I say, or don't do nothing. So, of course, also his life is very, lots of events there. He got to be very, very busy. And this is how people see him. This is how he is at the core, which is hidden most of the time. This is hidden, and this is how people see him. And the next card, what is stable in him, what he would not compromise in. It's amazing how they all come together. Look at that, how you can put the picture about this man what he would not compromise. And we seeing clearly this one will compromise absolutely nothing, and he wouldn't leave absolutely nothing. So if this man, let's say, if you want to know, if you're in a third party relationship and you want to know, I get this question very often, will he ever actually be courageous enough to you telling me that that marriage is this, that marriage is that. And very often, because when I'm looking at third party relationship, queens, I even if you don't ask, usually of course you ask, but even if you don't ask, I always look into what is going on in that marriage. What is going on, what are relationship of this man with his wife. And unfortunately for you, for a third party, of course most of the time you see that they are in this tandem of I am doing this, they are playing their roles. I must do this, you must do this. They each play their role. He plays the role of a husband, she plays the role of a wife. Nothing is going on, there is nothing between them, but they are just, if they were employed by the marriage, they are employed, they just do their jobs. There is no friendship or warmth or understanding. I look into that. And sometimes it's very sad, because you can see in the spread in a third party, when I do the readings for the third party, I see that the man is miserable. The man is absolutely miserable. He is so miserable, up to the point that he's suicidal sometimes. Because I even saw such situation in my beautiful queens, when a man would literally, he would breathe that woman I'm doing reading for. He loves her with every particle, every cell, every particle of his very existence. She is every idiotic thing like what we see right here. But in spite of the fact, I see that the man does not do nothing about changing this situation. Of course, I do the within a year. I always say the readers, classical readers, don't do the situation over than 1 year. And sometimes, yeah, I'm looking into that marriage, and it's horrific. People are miserable, but still he will not. And when I see a card like this, and especially a card like this, and I know that he's not gonna get anywhere, even though he's miserable. Sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes I see that he is happy with his wife, and he is pretty much even in love with her, and they share a lot of things. But he's happy with the wife, but he's happy with the mistress as well. So he pretty much wants to keep both of you in his life. And of course, in order to keep the mistress, he has to tell her something to justify his action. So he says, I'm miserable, I'm unhappy, my wife doesn't get me. This can be not always true, because of course he cannot tell you, a third party, listen, I am happy with my wife, I love my wife, but I love spending time with you too, but I'm not gonna leave my wife. So of course they lie to a third party most of the time. But in the reading, of course, it's clear, because I'm looking into that marriage and I say, okay, he is lying. He loves his wife, and he loves you too, so he wants to keep both of you. Or no, he's not lying, he is miserable, he is very unhappy, but he's not gonna leave. Or he's miserable and he thinks and plans to leave his miserable marriage, and being with you. So right here, I'm off of the topic. Right here you see the Ten of Wands, and this what he will never I'm sorry, what is stable about him. The third card, what is stable about him. And what is stable about him, it's this person doesn't leave nothing, doesn't drop anything, even if he is completely exhausted and overwhelmed and unhappy and miserable. So if these cards would be in third party relationship, it would be a sad that picture, because this man would keep on carrying all this he has to carry, but he wouldn't drop it. So this what is stable in him, that he stubbornly stands with what he wants to stand for. And even if he is absolutely miserable, he will not drop it. He just took over everything he took over, but he's not gonna drop it. Very often this is like this can be as hard as this rock on your neck. You have to carry it everywhere, can't get rid of it. And this is how it is. We're already having a very tough man here. So card number three. What he would never, this is what's stable about him. This is kind of coming together, what he would never leave. And we are having here a married man, because all the cards show us, of course not for all of you girls. Again, I am showing you an example how you can look at all the information about your man. But if it resonates, we're having this, we're having an emperor, we're having this one, we have an upside down pen, and we're having the Queen of Pentacles here. Most of you, we are dealing with a third party, with a tougher guy who is miserable and unhappy, but he's gonna stay in his misery and unhappiness because this is how he considers this must be. So look at these two cards right here. What he would what is stable in him, we are having this, and what he would never leave and never compromise. Here we are having the hope for and it's not necessarily a third-party relationship. It could be that between you, not another woman, but something what he's devoted to. For example, he is maybe a religious fanatic, and this is not about a woman he's not gonna compromise, but it's a religious fanatism, or I don't know, political fanatism, or some other type of fanatism, because in a position of spirituality we're having pentacles, we don't have spirituality here. So if he even claims himself to be belonging to some religious organization, that it would be more his stubbornness and fanatism that more than his actual spirituality. So but I would read it, this, to me, this is their third party relationship. So what we see reversed. So this is the choice. What he would never leave, what he would never compromise, what he would never do is actually reversed. This is not this is the two, you see, two women or two things, two job, but I see it as the relationship more related. And we are having here that reversed. What he would not compromise, he would not leave up the control. This is the biggest, the most stubborn control freak. Again, we're having the fears before any changes even slide. He would not compromise and leave his principles, which are very tough. He would not compromise, leave his the way of life he's living. He would always stand up for what he wants. And unfortunately, we are having the person who is constantly unsatisfied with something. This man is extremely difficult to please, and it's not something what unfortunately going to go anywhere. So that's not, he would not leave the situation where he is. He would stay there, he would stand for it. Also, it's someone who never asks for any help. This one, it's a tough man. So you see how much information you can get. And next one, his potential. His potential, of course, it's not just his potential, but this is what he wants to become. Major Arcana Emperor, and he absolutely, we already saw in all the cards here, we absolutely see that he has all the possible and impossible potential to become an emperor, of his own empire. And unfortunately, we have to admit that if he has to use methods which would not be very moral, and wouldn't correspond with anything connected with heart, we unfortunately don't have any cups in connections with this man. We have the swords, we have the pentacles, we have the swords, and we have the pentacles. So we are having a man who would never go into emotions and feelings, or allow any emotions and feelings to rule him. So yes, he does have potential to become an emperor, and he will most possibly become that emperor. 6, for example, we're looking at his abilities, and we are having reversed abilities, a reversed king of king of swords. And king of swords is already not a pleasant man. Again, I'm not talking about zodiac wise, I'm talking about personality. But his abilities is that he can be cruel, and he can be extremely cold when he needs to decide something. Again, this one, abilities, I would say this is disability. Ability to absolutely not follow any feelings, any emotions. All that is bullshit to him. So you're getting yourself such a man. Also a man who can be cruel. Also a man who can use different methods to get his way. If he has to use somebody or hurt somebody or cross somebody's path, he would do that. And his spirituality, we are having, unfortunately, 10 of Pentacles. What kind of spirituality coming with 10 of Pentacles? Absolutely none, because the man wants, we are having Emperor, a man wants this castle, a man wants money, a man wants to rule his empire, and he is ready to do anything for that. His weak points. His weak points, we are having a reversed card of a Fool. Weak points, when a life gives him chances to transform into something, chances to become that child. Because what is the Fool? The Fool is unborn child. The Fool is new things which come to completely transform your life. Unfortunately, this is not the guy who would do that. He would deny any impulsiveness, any impulsive, even if we put it in upright position, this would be the same thing, because it is in his weak point. He would not take it. He is selfish, but what comes to anything connected with intuition, feelings, and emotions, new opportunities, guides, keepers, gods, throw him anything what he can't control and can't logically explain, he will deny. And this is very sad. And in his good point, interesting card, in his good point we have the reversed a reversed Queen of Pentacles, 4. So if we would be dealing with a married man right here, we would have this woman as a woman in his life, and in her reversed position would tell us that something is not very right about this woman. She could be having psychological issues, she could be having financial issues, it could be his wife, it could be his mother, it could be someone. But the reversed one, usually it's someone who has issues with health, either psychological health or physical health, or both. So because this card in his good point, that it shows us that this woman depends on this man, and also this woman could be extremely difficult in his life because she suspects constantly something. She constantly worries. She constantly not happy. Very often this signifies this mother. And for example, a man wants to marry or wants to divorce, or he wants to do something, even, but she would cut all this off. She is ruling him and controlling him, and because this is in a good point of the spread, it talks about him not leaving this woman, not running away, but keeping on taking care of her and keeping on putting up with all the things she puts onto him. And we already saw here that yes, he doesn't leave anything. So in his good point, even if he is being really suffering from this woman in his life, her behavior or her character or everything else, whether it is a mother or a wife or somebody else, he will keep on taking care of this woman and he would not leave her. So emperor is responsible. So if he has someone he must taking care of, children, a child, a sibling, a nephew, a mother, an aunt, he will be doing this. This is his good point. This is all, my beautiful queens, about the spread. This is how you can look into any person, not necessarily a man you are thinking about to have in your life, but anybody. I will put the questions under the description box so you could do it yourself and you could practice it yourself. I will try to show you the next couple weeks nice big spreads which you could use for yourself if you'd have to. And for this video, this is all, my beauties, and I'm wishing you all the best. Namaste.